Week 2 of Gridiron Glory. We're here in St. Clairsville for a big-time matchup. The Week 2 games around the region are going to be intense, and we'll have that all for you on this episode. Get ready, because Gridiron Glory starts right now. We'll start to see if what we saw in Week 1 was the real deal or just a one-time performance. What teams are making a statement without a conference victory, and who is looking to make a threat with a deep playoff run. We'll find out tonight on Gridiron Glory. But first, we saw some great plays and outstanding performances last week, and we wanted to highlight some of the key moments on tonight's show. Here is the very best from Week 1. Starting off our best players of Week 1 list is Gabe Tingle from Ridgewood. Tingle led the Generals to a 51-0 shutout victory over crosstown rival Coshocton. Tingle can make plays on the ground and through the air, passing for 3 touchdowns and rushing for 1 in the first half alone. Next up is Warren's Jason Williams. The sophomore ran almost an entire lap around their new track, rushing for 381 yards in the Warriors' 47-12 victory over the Eagles in Week 1. Williams had multiple 50-plus yard touchdowns in Week 1. Next up is another running back named Jason. This one is Jason Munyon. The Sheridan senior had a monster Week 1, rushing for 186 yards and 3 touchdowns against rival Licking Valley. For an inexperienced General squad to start the season 1-0, Munyon needed to bring it in Week 1, and he delivered. Next up are our top plays of Week 1. And we start off with the best way to start off your season, an opening season kickoff return touchdown scored by Trayton Poling. Unfortunately, the Chieftains couldn't keep up this momentum as they fell 42-7 in Jackson. Finally, it's our game of the week, Ironton versus Wheelersburg, and the Pirates were looking to score, and Landon Wilson says, "I'll make a house call." 99 yards to the end zone. Fighting Tigers get a huge Week 1 victory, 40-6 on their home turf. Last but not least, is it really a top play segment if Coulter Cleveland isn't involved? He throws a dime to Dylan Howard right before halftime. Alrighty, I've been seeing some crazy stat lines across Southeast Ohio tonight, so I can't wait to see who makes the cut during next week's show. And also during Week 1, the Fairland Dragons squeaked by with a 1-point win to start their season. I have reporter Aiden Crowley with me. Why don't you break it down for us tonight?
Yeah, Nick, Fairland was not tested like they were in Week 1. Oak Hill hosted the Dragons in their new stadium, Davis Stadium, for their home opener. After an early 3-and-out, the Dragons would take possession. Sophomore quarterback Peyton Jackson shovels one over to star senior back J.D. Brumfield, who shows his speed in the second level, getting to the outside edge, and then his power as he bulldozes his way to a score. Oak Hill takes possession with some play action, good enough to fool the cameraman. Derek Boggs drives back to pass and is picked off by a leaping grab from Steeler Leap. What a football name. Next possession, next play. Fairland looking to take a commanding lead. Jackson drops back to pass, and he's picked off by Garrett McInnes. McInnes returns the interception down to the Oaks 45. Oak Hill would march down to the Dragons 5, setting up this QB scramble. Boggs shows off his athleticism as he finds his way into the end zone to knot the game up at 7. The ensuing kickoff is received by Xander Schmidt. Schmidt rushes his way to the outside edge, cuts back to the middle, makes a man miss, and he's off to the races. No one is catching Smith as he has 85 yards to the house to take a 14-7 lead. The Dragons' defense responded after Oak Hill scores, forcing a punt. Steeler Leap fields the boot in the pouring rain and makes his way to the outside edge. Leap stiff arms the defender and breaks away for a 59-yard punt return to take a 21-7 lead. The Dragons would dominate en route to a 55-7 victory. After this victory, the Dragons have a ton of momentum heading into their next key matchup against Ironton.
Yeah, that sounds like it will be a huge game to decide who's on top. Thanks, Aiden. Moving to Licking County, where one player set out a goal this summer to do something 10,000 times. Cedric Granger has a story on a Heath 8th grader who made that goal a reality.
Being able to do anything for 80 days is quite a challenge, but to string together 80 days of catching 125 footballs is beyond commendable. With assistance from his father, Heath head coach Tim Ward, 8th grader Joe Ward set a lofty goal for himself this summer.
Words really can't describe the feeling of pride that I have towards him. It literally started out with actually a Bible verse, reading about how one man can take on 1,000 and two men can put 10,000 to flight. And that's kind of where the idea came from, is putting 10,000 footballs to flight.
Although it was challenging, Joe internalized this quote and went to work, making catch after catch all throughout the summer.
Yeah, there was a lot of days that it was very hard to go out and do it. And I knew that I just had to put my mind and focus up, that if I didn't do it today, then I was going to lose something that I've been doing for a while.
As he went on, the Heath community started to get behind him more and more.
And we got our pastor involved. We got the mayor involved. We got some police officers involved. Past football players that have played for me in the past, that played and graduated from high school before I went there. It really kind of became a community event, and something that just is a memory that we'll have forever.
It all culminated when Joe made his 10,000th catch.
So once I caught that final ball, it was pretty cool that I did something for 80 days straight.
Reporting for Gridiron Glory, I'm Cedric Granger.
9,999 more to go for me. Congratulations to Joe and the Ward family on their hard-earned accomplishment. The Bulldogs advanced to 2-0 with a 26-14 victory over Fairfield Union tonight. Now staying in the Licking County League, the Licking Valley Panthers traveled to London in a battle between traditional powers, who both started the season 0-1. Here's how it went down in London. Defense was the story, as both teams are hard-hitting and physical. Licking Valley is looking to run a screen pass, but Isaiah Jones intercepts the pass, and he could go all the way. Touchdown London. That gives them an early lead, and plays like that are why Jones is regarded as one of the best linebackers in the state. Now, with that play right there, beautiful play, now London has the ball and they drop back to pass. And this pass is also intercepted by number 2, Elijah Stevens. Comes up with that pass and gives the ball back to the Panthers. This one would remain tight throughout the remainder of the game. It's now 14-14 with 2 minutes to play, and London has the ball. They hand the ball off, and the group of Panthers force the ball loose. It's picked up by Isaac Barzoki, who wins the game for Licking Valley. Panthers 20, Red Raiders 14. Licking Valley now improves to 1-1 on the season, while London suffers their second straight one-score loss to a quality opponent. We'll be seeing more of these teams as the year progresses. I'm here with reporter Jack Demler, who pulled up to Pomeroy to see the Marauders play host to the Belpre Golden Eagles. Both teams suffered a Week 1 loss, and how did these two match up this week?
Well, Nick, it was a very offensive game with both teams trading blows in the early drives of the game. But the Marauders' offense seemed to be too much to outmatch the Golden Eagles. As there you see Coulter Cleland warming up on the sidelines, trying to put his team into the win column. On the second play from scrimmage, Cleland is going to keep the ball on the read option, and he's going to take this one to the house to give Meigs the early 7-0 lead. Eagles looking to repay the touchdown with one of their own. Willis Starcher is going to take the snap, drop back to pass. He's going to get the ball over the defender and finds Jordan Martian, who's going to take the ball across field to the near sideline and take this one 62 yards for the touchdown. But the PAT would be blocked by Meigs. Cleland coming back to let them know anything you could do, we can do better. He's going to find Griffin Cleland wide open for a 31-yard Meigs touchdown. And if one wasn't enough, here comes another. On the very first play of the very next drive, Cleland is going to let it fly once more and find Morgan Roberts for 6 more. Meigs leads 21-6 with 10 minutes left in the first quarter. Belpre is looking to stay in this game, lines up in the Wildcat formation, and Jordan Martian is going to take this one down the near sideline for 6 of their own. The Marauders offense was having their way tonight, though, as on the next drive, Conley Burnham would burn the Eagles' defense up the middle for a 72-yard touchdown. That would put Meigs up 28-12. Meigs would go up 62-30 at the half and keep their foot on the gas as they would go on to win 81-36.
So, Jack, we talked a lot about Coulter Cleveland coming off that season-ending injury, and it seems like he's doing better than ever. Talk about his performance tonight.
Well, Nick, if Stephen A. Smith was covering this game, he would call Coulter Cleveland a bad man. Cleveland showing that he is fully recovered off his injury as he was slinging it early. Cleveland had 9 completions for a total of 224 yards and 4 passing touchdowns, all of which went to 4 different receivers. He was also a threat with his feet as he rushed for 62 yards and tallied 2 rushing touchdowns.
And what about the rest of the offense? How are they able to contribute?
Well, while Coulter Cleveland had an incredible outing, it was not just a one-man show. Conley Burnham was burning the defense all night for 206 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns of his own. This offense was clicking on all cylinders early as they started the game with 4 touchdowns on their first 5 plays from scrimmage.
And what about the other side of the ball? How did the Marauders match up defensively?
Well, the defense had their ups and downs. While they made some big plays, they also seemed to have a problem with Jordan and Julian Martian. But like I said, as they had their struggles with the Martian boys, they showed up with some big-time plays like this sack that you see here. With an offense as efficient and effective as Meigs played tonight, a few stops is all they need to get their team in winning position.
Yeah, that Marauders offense sure looks like to be a force to be reckoned with. Thanks, Jack. What you need to do to stay up to date with all the glory is follow us on social media. We post highlights, pictures, and score graphics, and you can find Gridiron Glory on Facebook, Twitter, and this season we are on TikTok and Instagram. Don't miss out on any of the glory. The Alexander Spartans are looking for their first win this season after dropping their first game last week. I have Curtis Fader here to tell us how they fared up in this week's home opener.
Thanks, Nick. South Point Pointers, they came down to play with the Spartans, and both squads shared that desire to get their first win of the season, and it showed today in a defensive slugfest. In the early going of the game, it was a perfect stalemate, with neither team going anywhere, but in the second quarter, things began to open up. In the second quarter, Logan Jenkins gets the ball on the slant, and then he turns on the Jets, blows past the secondary, and breaks the deadlock for the Spartans, getting them to an opening touchdown 7-0 lead. And then quarterback Jordan Schultz throws that rainbow dime into double coverage to land an outhouse to extend that lead to 14. But towards the end of the first half, South Point tried to make a push, and they thought they had a touchdown until the ref said, nope, penalty, you got to try again. And in a desperate need to score to stay in the game, the Spartans broke some Pointer hearts with an interception in the red zone by Brody Montgomery. Now that play did make the difference in this game, as South Point could not overcome the Alexander defense in the second half, as the Spartans get their first win of the season with a score of 14-8.
Wow, 14-8, that's a low-scoring game. Yeah. What led up to that score?
Well, both teams were sound defensively, but also it had a lack of general flow due to the refs' constant influence on the field. See, one thing that was also clear is these teams did not like each other. The refs had to get involved multiple times, and things got chippy when Alexander launched South Point QB Jordan Ermalovich into the asphalt. But I cannot stress enough the defensive effort that got this win for Alexander.
Any players catch your eye out there on defense for the Spartans tonight?
Way ahead of you, my friend. Freshman Isaac Waller is a beast. This guy became captain as a freshman and has been dominant on the defensive side of the ball. Everywhere you look, you see number 42 coming to the ball with force. His physicality is unmatched, and he made his presence felt every down. Waller was one of the key reasons why South Point could not seem to get a decent drive going.
What can Alexander do to build on this victory moving forward?
Well, Alexander definitely needs to find more creative ways to get the ball down the field. Jordan Schultz has a really good arm, and if the running game improves, the sky's the limit for this Spartans offense. Alexander will look to get a little win streak going next week as they hit the road to play the Belpre Eagles.
Looking forward to that game for sure. Great reporting as always. Thanks, Curtis. The game of the week always brings out some of the best festivities and traditions this week. We traveled to St. Clairsville, where the Red Devils are looking to beat cross-state rival Wheeling Park for a third straight season. Here's our Game of the Week preview. If that doesn't get you ready for a huge rivalry game, I don't know what will. Red Devils looking to advance to 2-0, Wheeling Park trying to open their season with a win over their rival. The St. Clairsville student section was fired up pre-game, but it was Wheeling Park getting out on the board first. Brett Phillips takes this option to the end zone to open up the scoring. Now Red Devils down 12-0, but Jacob Jordan puts the Red Devils on the board and cuts the deficit to 12-7. St. Clairsville looking to build on this momentum. Red Devils going deep, and Colt Westlake hurls it and gets the Red Devils into scoring range. St. Clairsville would take a 14-12 lead into the third quarter. But Wheeling Park came back to win 18-14 in this intense rivalry game that certainly lived up to the Game of the Hype week. Our Week 1 Game of the Week featured one of the best rivalries in Southeast Ohio, Wheelersburg versus Ironton. These two fan bases never let us down, which created an exciting atmosphere as the Tanks Memorial Stadium was electric. Contest. Another packed crowd flocked into Ironton, but a weather delay forced them to stay a little longer in Lawrence County than they were expecting while they were walking into the stadium. I'm now joined by Will Price, who braced the conditions to cover this thrilling contest. Will, what were the highlights from Tanks Memorial Stadium?
Nick, the Ironton Fighting Tigers and the Jackson Ironmen were in a slugfest that went right down to the wire. Ironton hosted the Jackson Ironmen. Both teams coming off big Week 1 wins and looking to move to 2-0.
Long drive to Ironton.
Quarterback John Wiley with the play action. Fakes out the cameraman, then looks back to his left, but Drew Bragg somehow comes down with this interception. Jackson ball. Next play, 2 plays later, Evan Spires takes the handoff, but he'd cough up the football. Ends up on the ground, and Fighting Tigers are on top. Next play, and Aaron Masters takes the jet sweep, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown. 7-0 Ironton after that.
Long drive to Ironton. How was the weather down there?
Much of Southeast Ohio felt the summer sun this week, and it resulted in some storms. The game was delayed by an hour due to lightning in the area.
Once the game got going, what made it so low scoring?
Both teams struggled to get momentum on the offensive end. Penalties and short gains put teams in third and long situations. Both first half scores came on short fields from turnovers.
The Ironmen have played 2 quarterbacks this season. How did they perform?
It was tough sledding all around, and give credit to the Fighting Tigers defense. They put pressure on both Winters and Spires all night. Jackson has plenty of playmakers, but Ironton controlled the line of scrimmage all night. There were great performances from C.J. McCall, Noah Patterson, Nate Cochran, and the Fighting Tigers front 7. They all deserve a game ball for their performance.
What went down at the end of the game? Talk us through it.
A field goal with a second left put Jackson up 10-7. But on the ensuing kickoff, few laterals happened, and the Fighting Tigers took it all the way to the end zone. 13-10 final score. Ironton took it on a miracle play.
Sounds like that game could have been our game of the year in Southeast Ohio. Well, get back to Athens safely.
Okay.
I'm speechless after hearing that result. It was a heartbreaking end to the season last year for the Fort Frye Cadets, just 2 yards away from a win in the state semifinals. The Cadets failed to score as the clock hit 0. Now the team is using the loss as motivation to prepare for the battles ahead.
Coming up 2 yards short from going to a state title in which we think we could have won is definitely not a good feeling. And I mean, letting the seniors down last year wasn't a good feeling. and it's a feeling that I'd never want to feel again. And it's definitely not a feeling that I want to let this town down again. So it's just motivating, and we just want to get back to where we were.
Never wanting to endure those emotions was the fuel for the team, as the coaches and players couldn't wait to get back on the field to make another run at a title.
Oh, it's been a lot of motivation. It's wanting to make our team get into the locker or into the weight room and work a lot. And especially coming out here at practice, we know what happened at the end of last year, so we know what we want to do coming out this season.
Looking in years past, Fort Frye has been perfect when it comes to the regular season, but the players want to keep it low-key.
I don't really look at it as we've won 33 games in a row in the regular season. We can't really think it like that. We just got to embrace every game. You just one game at a time. You can't look ahead. If you look ahead, then you'll get your head up in the air and you'll just make mistakes in a game where maybe you should win, maybe a game that you should be in, and you just can't do that. You just got to play one game at a time.
This season will be one of the hardest it's ever been, but Ian Ellis says the long-term benefits are there.
Tough game every single week, and I feel like our regular season this year is going to be a tough game every week, and I feel like that's just preparing us for the playoffs.
Even though the Cadets have had success in previous seasons, head coach Eric Huck says they're
hungry. They're hungry.
Hearing from the Cadets, it sounds like they will be ready to go on Saturday evening. Remember, fans, 5 p.m. kickoff tomorrow. So what is St. Henry bringing to this contest? St. Henry is traveling over 200 miles for this non-conference battle. St. Henry comes from the Midwest Athletic Conference. That conference has won the Division 6 and 7 state championship last season and has had 4 different schools win football state titles since the 2019 season. The league is regarded as one of the best small school conferences in the country. Make sure to follow Gridiron Glory on all of our social media accounts for complete coverage of this game. From one school that fell in the state semifinals last season to another, the Newark Catholic Green Wave are looking to finish off what they couldn't last season. Zach Paquette has more on what the Green Wave looks to do this season.
The Newark Catholic Green Wave come into the 2021 season as one of the strongest teams in Division 7, Region 27. After a 20-13 loss to Warren John F. Kennedy in the state semifinals, the team returns with a strong mindset.
We want to succeed. I feel like everyone wants to succeed, and we're all hungry after last year's state semifinal loss.
Here we go. Set. Here. Good. Square up.
After a 2020 campaign that saw them lose 4 games by 9 points or fewer, head coach Ryan Aiello is focusing on the little things.
You know, the attention to detail, making sure they're holding everybody accountable for doing their job. You know, I think when we focus in on those small things, take a lot of pride in that, do our job, that'll make up for some of the issues that we had that gave those very quality teams the opportunity to beat us.
Their 2021 campaign won't be any easier. For this Division 7 powerhouse, their regular season schedule consists of only 1 team in the same division. Their other 9 opponents all come from Division 6 and above, but the Green Wave aren't backing down from the challenge.
We put it as a chip on our shoulder, you know. We're not one of the biggest teams in the LCL, but we feel like we can compete with any team we play. So we just have a chip on our shoulder every game we go in.
Reporting for Gridiron Glory, I'm Zach Paquette.
I'm now joined by Zach Paquette, who saw the Green Wave in action this week in Nelsonville. How did Newark Catholic look against the Nelsonville York Buckeyes?
Last week, Newark Catholic had a dominating performance against Bishop Reedy, and they picked up right where they left off in week 2. Newark Catholic on the road again, this time in Nelsonville, where the Buckeyes are playing their home opener. Now, first drive for the Green Wave. Cole Kander handles the high snap. He passes it to Tanner Elwell for the first down, and that sets up a 22-yard field goal by Warren Knowlton. 3-0 Newark Catholic. Next Newark Catholic drive, Cole Cantor. He doesn't see anything open, so he takes off and finds some open grass up the field, up the sideline for the first down, and that sets up a few plays later. Cole Cantor, he'll drop back and find his go-to man, Brandon Buchanan, 41 yards to the house. 10-0 Newark Catholic at the end of the first quarter. Now we're going to fast forward to the second half. Opening drive for the Green Wave, Mason Hackett. He will take the handoff, and once we get that play rolling here in a second, Mason Hackett, he'll take the handoff and he'll bounce it to the outside, make a few Nelsonville York defenders miss, and that will set up this touchdown. Cantor finds his man, Ian Moorhead, For the score, 24-0 Newark Catholic, and they will hang on to win this one 38-14.
That Newark Catholic offense put up 38 points against the Buckeyes defense. What stood out about the Green Wave tonight?
Yeah, that offense is anything but one-dimensional. They can run it and they can pass it. Cole Cantor is the field general of this offense. Many people around Central Ohio have been calling him one of the best quarterbacks in the area, and he didn't disappoint. He has the ability to scramble and make plays with his feet and make accurate passes to his weapons on offense.
Who are some of the other weapons on the Newark Catholic offense this year?
Mason Hackett is the premier running back for the Green Wave. What he lacks in size, he makes up for in speed and elusiveness. He ran all over the NY defense on Friday night. And Nick, this is a junior who is playing his first year of football since the 8th grade. You wouldn't know that by watching him play. Brandon Buchanan is Cole Cantor's main receiver. They connected a few times against NY, including that 41-yard touchdown pass that we saw earlier.
And Newark Catholic's defense is also a force to be reckoned with. They held NY to 14 points and Reedy to 8 points last week.
Yeah, Nick, the defense has been a force so far this season. Newark Catholic is a Division 7 team, and both their games this season have been against opponents in higher divisions. NY's offense features a lot of running, and they refuse to give up that big run. There were a few big plays in the passing game and a few long kick returns by NY, but other than that, this defense is firing on all cylinders to open the season.
So far, it looks like Newark Catholic is a team to be reckoned with through 2 weeks, but they face a tough task when they have to host Columbus Academy next week. Thanks, Zach. Now let's take you across Southeast Ohio and show the final scores from some of the games you can expect digital content coming this weekend. Gallia Academy came to Athens and shut out the Bulldogs. This helps Gallia improve to 2-0, and Athens is still looking to score their first points of the season. Next, Bern Union put up a 50-burger in their victory over Caldwell. Watch out for the Rockets this season. Finally, we saw some highlights on the show. Licking Valley and London went down to the wire, but the Panthers came out with this one, 20-14 victory. Piketon advanced to 2-0 with a huge victory over Wellston. That was another game impacted by the storms that ran through the Southern Ohio tonight. Finally, in our game of the week, Wheeling Park comes into Ohio and defeats St. Clairsville 18-14 in a game that lived up to the hype, and that gave our show the game of the week. It was an exciting one all throughout the region tonight, and I can't wait till what happens in next week's ball game. Rivalry games kind of showed out throughout the region, and it was an exciting one, and we're always glad to be covering you guys throughout the entire way. And again, get ready for next week's show, 11:30 on WOUB. Get ready, and remember, there's nothing better than Gridiron Glory and Friday Night Lights.
Support comes from the law firm of Bricker and Eckler, providing legal services in the Southeast Ohio region for energy, education, government, and business counsel. More information at bricker.com/southeast.
Support comes from Ohio Health Oblenis Hospital sports medicine experts, helping youth athletes and active adults recover from